Welcome to Out of the Blue, number 485. Today, I'm going to ask a question. The question is, speaking Neo-Swedenborgianistically, do dogs go to heaven? And there are two answers. And speaking Neo-Swedenborgianistically, the first answer is no. Dogs do not go to heaven. But for the second answer, I need to give you a little background information. And the background information, let's see. Background information is, look in the background, right? That baseball field. Here's a horseshoes. I'm in Chicago. That's the Earth. And if you look, it appears like the Earth is flat. Like, I can't see any curvature of the Earth there, and I would doubt anybody who said they could. So the Earth looks flat, but we all know it's a sphere. The Earth is not flat. It only looks flat from our little minuscule human point of view. And in fact, we have to get, from what I'm told, about 50,000 feet above sea level before we start seeing the curvature of the Earth. And the planes we all fly in, 747s and such, fly at about 30,000 feet. So outside of photographs and videos and films, we don't really see the curvature of the Earth with our own eyes. But anyway, that's digression. The point being is, the Earth is a sphere, but to us it appears flat. Right? So therefore, we live in some kind of illusion, because we know the Earth is a sphere, and we equally know that it looks flat. So that brings us to the subject of magical thinking. And for my purpose here, I am defining magical thinking as looking for and trying to see through the illusions of everyday life. That is to say, when I say magical thinking, I mean thinking like a magician. So if you show a card trick to an average person, they'll just be like, hey, wow, that was amazing. But if you show a card trick to a magician who's practiced in magical, as in magician-like thinking, they might be fooled, but they'll also think about it magically. Which is to say, they'll think, how did that guy do that? And so I'm calling magical thinking I'm using that phrase because it's defined differently in different areas of study. But for my purpose, magical thinking is thinking like a magician, which is trying to figure out how illusions are done, because magicians don't really ask each other how things are done. That's an impolite question. My grandfather, Jay Marshall, came back from Vegas one time, and he had seen Penn and Teller's bullet catch, and he couldn't figure out how it was done. And Penn and Teller admired him, and I said, why don't you just ask? And he looked at me and kind of shook his head like, you don't just ask. Doesn't matter who you are, you sit and you try to figure it out. Right? So anyway, yeah, magical thinking as I'm defining it is thinking like a magician. That's what this whole show is about. And that is also why I can say NS makes AO. You know what that means? NS makes AO. Now, I don't really want to start an argument, so I don't really like talking on this subject, but that's why I'm not directly talking on it. I'm talking about do dogs go to heaven? But the same logic produces the phrase NS makes AO, which is to say, Neo-Swedenborgianism makes, there you are, where are you? There you are. Neo-Swedenborgianism makes atheism obsolete. But then again, I've already said that in past episodes, but I actually kind of want to change the focus to just this simple question of, do dogs go to heaven? Because it's really the same logic. And the answer is, do dogs go to heaven? No. Dogs are these animals that live on Earth, and they have an awareness, and they seem bright, and they die, and they turn just organic matter. You bury them in the ground, and they turn dust to dust, dirt to dirt, right? Dogs do not go to heaven. They just live for a little while like an animal, and then they die. But just like the Earth is round, that's the fact, but we see it as flat, there's two different realities. There's the real reality, and then there's the so-called reality that we experience, which is in fact not real. The Earth is not really flat, and dogs don't really go to heaven. But from our point of view, the answer is you have about an 8.5% chance of seeing your dog in heaven. Speaking Neo-Swedenborgianistically, because these things have been, there's a lot of them, these near-death experience type things, there's a lot of them. There's enough to make these predictions that about 10% of the people have them. A quantifiable percentage see their dogs or cats, and not everybody has a dog or cat. So the simple Neo-Swedenborgianistic answer is just math. It's just averaging. The simple answer is you have an 8.5% chance of seeing your dog or cat in heaven. Now, just like the Earth isn't really flat, that heaven may not actually be real. It will only seem real to you at the time. And which leaves us with the question is, what's the difference between something that is real and only something that only seems real? But you have to factor in the fact that these people are saying that it seems more real. It doesn't just seem real. Like this seems real. I seem real. I can feel this. Well, they say that over there, whatever it is, feels more real than this. So you've pet your dog, you're thinking about your dog, you saw the little headline, do dogs go to heaven? And you think, Fluffy. You remember petting your dog? You remember petting Fluffy? Well, when you see Fluffy in heaven, there will be no doubt that it's really Fluffy. There will be no doubt whatsoever. You will know. And when you pet Fluffy, it'll feel even better than when you petted Fluffy last time, because it seems more real and more distinct. Anyway, one of the near-death experiences, I don't want to ramble on too long, but in one of the ones, the woman meets her dog, and the dog takes her on this tour of heaven, and they have telepathic communication, and the dog even takes her to his apartment, which is modeled after their old house, and there's books on the shelves. That's the funniest part. But they don't. I thought, what kind of books is a dog gonna have? Anyway, let's see. That guy's still running up behind me. Let's see. Here we are, back where we started. Woofity woof. Thanks for watching. See ya. Bye. Bye.